Good morning, LinkedIn. Happy Friday, May 31st. Happy birthday to my mother. And welcome to Let's Build Daily. I'm your host, Chris Carolin. Time for some tough love today. And know that this is coming from a place of compassion and empathy. And I've gone through this cycle myself over the past 10 months of trying to keep up with what's new and what's exciting with the platform, HubSpot platform, that is, asking for more education and more resources, but then trying to figure out ways I could address it for myself and maybe help others. That's why I started the show. That's why George and I are doing the customer platform hug, starting on June 26th. Like we gotta figure this out, because I'm running into confusion every day about what HubSpot is, what it can do. I'm running into people that don't have HubSpot, people that have one hub and have no idea what the rest of the hubs can do for them, some of which they already have access to, stuff like Commerce Hub. Partners that are telling me that they're overwhelmed, internal HubSpotters on almost every team that are saying they're overwhelmed. So I wanted to take a minute and just say, like, clearly, HubSpot's not going to slow down. They are creating an amazing, the best ever, in my opinion, a business growth platform that hasn't existed before. It's in a category of its own as far as the ability to manage a customer experience. And now most business processes required to support that experience, all in the same platform. And I think about this a lot just because I have to have conversations about, ERPs say they have a CRM, and why do we need, just because something has contact data in it does not make it a CRM, does not mean it can manage communications, etc. But when you're focused on Marketing Hub and Sales Hub, and we can only put sales contacts in there for some reason, you're just cutting off the HubSpot platform at the legs. And when that's how you continue to approach its value to the business, it's automatically gonna be seen as lesser to leadership teams than things like ERPs or their primary accounting systems. Like, we have to do a better job of informing leaders and their teams why HubSpot is a requirement. If it's in play, why you should view it as a requirement to use as much as possible for your business. But that starts with awareness and starts with, teaching yourself as a partner about the functionality. I'm going less hard on admins here because admins inside of companies wear way too many hats usually. And they've got all this internal mechanisms, let's say, to manage in order to serve up a good looking HubSpot for their business. If they try to keep up, they're going to have a tough time. And that's where partners come in, right? I've had several people tell me that's one of the primary reasons they see value in a partner, is that they can go to somebody who is up to speed with what the platform can do, who is paying attention. But we know that not every partner is doing that. And I understand that a lot don't when you're just focused on sales and revenue, which you need to be to sustain a great business. But where does that end? And at which point are we going to try to manage and prevent this narrative from growing, prevent this gap from growing, that HubSpot is just a marketing tool, or is just a sales tool, or is just a CRM, or we'll help you with RevOps, but we're not going to know anything about, Commerce Hub and payment links and CMS, while we do that. It's happening every day right now. So I wanted to share some resources. It doesn't, if you're overwhelmed, like just first of all, that's okay. Like HubSpot is moving fast. And um, if you try to keep up with every single detail every day, you will get overwhelmed very quickly. Um, including like if you try to know exactly how everything works. And like most people don't have time for that. But you can't let yourselves off the hook of being aware of what the functionality of the platform can be for a business at all spots in the business. So I wanted to share some resources, and I'll show some examples of, traditional resources that are still surfacing and, aren't going to cut it if that's your go-to mechanism. But I've got some to share that I think are um, should be pretty helpful, that I recommend you, either bookmark or, have handy in some way. And some of this stuff, like especially the HubSpot stuff that I'll show, is if you got to hit it every day for 5 to 10 minutes, start doing that, please. Right? You've got to educate yourself on the full breadth of HubSpot, or else you're doing a disservice to the buyers, to your clients, to the rest of the ecosystem. And an example that I've experienced, just one of many, is when I'm talking to somebody who already has Sales Hub Enterprise. They want to do better with their post-sales data, post-sales process management. And of course, I talk about, quote to cash optimization and process optimization and, getting the post-sales data into HubSpot in the first place. And then another, a different partner that has an elite label just tries to come in and sell Marketing Hub. Like, it's crazy. Not what the customer needs, but that's what's going out the door. So that's, traditionally that's what's worked. So that's what we keep doing. We gotta find a way out of that. Here's one resource that just came out a couple weeks ago. And there's a ton of guides like this out there. Not like this, but I'll show in a minute. Like when you search why go HubSpot, there's a bunch of stuff that comes out. And I'm going to show why this one's different when we get to that. But this is a great, just contextual, high-level overview of the whole platform. And I think the contextual part is what most people are missing in terms of this is a context. The contextual world of HubSpot right now is Customer Platform, right? It is Marketing Hub, Sales Hub, Content Hub, Service Hub, Operations Hub, Commerce Hub. All of these are in play. And if you're still mentally in the world of Marketing Hub, Sales Hub, even just marketing, sales, and service, right? Plus CRM, that's not enough, right? You're completely missing opportunities with CMS, opportunities with operations. Payment links in Commerce Hub is some of the lowest hanging fruit for any business. And it's there just sitting when it could be providing value. So this is a great high-level contextual overview of the platform. And one of the things, let's see if I can find it in here, that I gave George some feedback on that I thought was cool. Let's see if I can find it here. Basically, like the challenge is that what the hell is a customer platform? Right? It's a new category, or we're trying to make it a new category that hasn't really existed before. And really it's the evolution of where we've been going, right? It was, first was Marketing Hub and marketing tools. And we started adding some CRM and some sales, and it was the growth suite. And then we went to CRM suite, and now we're at the customer platform. But at the end of the day, here we go. HubSpot is a dynamic customer and business growth platform. So business growth platform is not just marketing. It is not just sales. The entire business, every customer facing employee, every customer facing team member, including accounting now from a perspective of whoever's sending out invoices, can be supported by HubSpot. And when you can position it like that for a leader, all of a sudden, HubSpot takes this different level of value that it hasn't had before. And I love positioning it as the customer communication platform or the customer experience management platform, because there's not many other tools, if any, that can touch that position. And basically the only difference between, customer experience platform versus communication platform is if you're using CMS or not. Like once CMS is in play, now you're really managing that experience, digitally on your website. So this is a great contextual overview, right? To try and serve this, right? We're trying to keep up not only with this platform, but with what's happening in our business every day, the things that our customers are asking for, right? And we got to get out of the mode of just putting out fires every day, and try to build some strategy into the business. And that's if you keep treating HubSpot as the emailing tool, as some kind of specific function, while it may be easier to sell that, it's a lot harder than most people think to recover from that position that you sell it into the business, right? If you sell it on quick wins, then it's not going to be the required platform for business process. Like, good job, you saved a couple minutes for a sales guy here and there. You got a meeting link set up. But if that's all I hear about HubSpot is that these little things are happening, then it's not sending me the message as a leader that this is a requirement for business growth, right? I'm glad we have it. It's a nice to have though at that point. So you got to find a way to strategically position HubSpot, and you can do that now if you understand what it can do for a business, right? So most people know about, Marketing Hub. So, no need to review that, but I'm not here to review all the hubs. I'm just saying this is a great resource if you need to catch up, right? And this is, I'm sure he'll do some updating over time, but this is probably one of the more static resources that I'm going to recommend today. But it's fresh. It's from 2024. And knowing George, it is in the context of customer platform, right? Instead of taking the hub one by one in a vacuum, there is a review of all the hubs together in the context of customer platform. So that is, the first resource that I recommend checking out. And this is like the contextual and somewhat static nature, right? If you find yourself so far behind, which so many partners are, and you need some resource to be like, okay, this is the whole platform. This is what it means to businesses. You really should check out this guide. It's good stuff, especially for this part. And I might even just suggest skipping to the end so you can understand the impact of you not knowing what's available. Like again, Commerce Hub, educate yourself, invoices, payment links. Because if you start here, then you can start to prepare for all the pushback that you might get. Because know that people are going to run into this stuff as they're in the platform doing other things. Like they're going to see the new navigation, they're going to see these options. And if they're forced to explore it themselves, before, that's the part that's driving some pretty bad narratives in places, right? So please find a way to educate yourself. I think this is a good resource. The other one that should be a go-to, and this is the one, like if you're having trouble remembering, or again, you haven't touched something like Commerce Hub yet, like this is, 5 minutes every day. Like start to understand just from a high level these options, right? And then if one piques your interest, dig a little deeper. But just be aware, right, of what's available to your customers, right? To people that are interested in HubSpot. Shouldn't have to go into a ton of detail on this one, right? You just Google why go HubSpot, and you find, you'll find this is the first link, right? And this shows why it's hard. If you try to reproduce something like this, it's harder to keep up. And I'll show what I mean in a second when we look at the Google results. But the other one I think is huge is AI. Like there's just no reason to be ignorant on what HubSpot AI is doing. Even if you are not a big proponent of AI, or aren't using it for your business yet, this is a very easy way to teach yourself on what the HubSpot AI mechanisms are, what the features are, what the tool set is. Even just knowing it's here and being able to share it with customers is going to go a long way. But come in and find, like, okay, I keep getting the question about, let's say generating images. Okay, have some of these at the ready. Like this is such an easy way to be able to answer questions. Like, is your data used to train the AI system? No. Right. And the more you can kind of deal with these uncertainties up front, like the easier it's going to be to educate your teams and your customers and any buyers that are in play. And this is the kind of thing, like, if you can't take 5 to 10 minutes a day to bring yourself up to speed on this, I mean, what are you doing? It's, in my opinion, you're not doing your job as a partner, right? We got to remove the excuses for not knowing the full breadth of the platform. It's not okay anymore. It probably never was okay, right? But now you have these tools available that if you're not using them, that's on you. Here's what happens though if you rely on Google and there may be some traditional mechanisms. I've had countless people tell me they were looking for other stuff, or they were looking for use cases, especially related to post sales. And the newer the thing is in HubSpot, so let's say Commerce Hub, Operations Hub, and CMS Hub, the less likely you are to find use case information and how-to guides and all these things, right? Now, when I searched why go HubSpot, I did so looking for this link. So good job, HubSpot, making it easy for me to find this page, which I had bookmarked, but forgot that I had it bookmarked. And then we see you know, uh, some options here. And this is where, like, if you haven't caught wind of this and you're like, oh, I haven't heard about HubSpot Customer Platform, my PDM, or the growth specialists I talk to, or pre-sales, like nobody's talking about it except for maybe leadership, or I'm not hearing it, right? This is a spot from 3 weeks ago. HubSpot is starting to message outwardly with a focus on customer platform. This is not just the leadership team talking about it anymore. But this is what, is currently out there. And this is the challenge for any partner that chooses to try and educate on all things HubSpot, is that if you're going to make more static resources as opposed to being active on LinkedIn, on the regular, you're going to struggle to keep up right now, right? And this is so this is the first organic link after HubSpot. So it's marketing, sales, service, right? The HubSpot growth platform, and it's marketing, sales, service, CRM. So we don't have CMS, we don't have Commerce Hub, and we don't have Operations Hub on here, right? Now, of course, we do have a link, which takes us to the HubSpot pricing page, right? Which is great for a black and white review, but many of us know how confusing this can get as well. This is why I'm not saying HubSpot's necessarily making it super easy to stay up to date, as they move super quickly and struggle to put, clear resources in play themselves, but it doesn't get you off the hook for knowing about some resources you can go to and teaching yourself about what the platform can do and what it can be for your customers, right? So even if it's at the level of, hey, coming here to understand, memberships coming down to the pro level, right? Again, Commerce Hub and things that impact and how it works, right? You got to do better. And that's why, but understand, this is why, right? Because this is still good information. This is what HubSpot, this is good information about this piece of the platform, right? That's why it's still ranking. But when we, look at the rest of these, you're unlikely to find a lot of information about Commerce Hub, CMS Hub, or Operations Hub. So, of course, if we are not actively trying to combat that, that is the thought in the market. And when the price starts going up and we start seeing paywalls everywhere, right? That feeds the narrative. So what is that narrative? Right? Here's a Reddit thread. And this I saw on this, in these results somewhere. Here we go. Why don't people just go for HubSpot? And I've asked myself that so many times. Seems like a no-brainer. This thread is from 2 months ago. And sure, you're going to see pockets of maybe misinformed content all over the internet. But when you see it and feel it in your conversations every day, right, there is a bigger narrative here that nobody in the HubSpot ecosystem and HubSpot itself doesn't control right now. So I think they had for many years, up until 2017, 2018, 2020, probably until custom objects came on board, HubSpot owned the narrative that they were the go-to marketing software platform. Now, moving towards customer platform, what does that mean? As that confusion and that, like, I'm guessing this is growing pains of a 30 plus $1 billion company, as we do all the things and move up market, but it doesn't change the fact that there's been a loss of control over the narrative of what HubSpot is and what it can do. So we're seeing this all the time, where because it only offers most of the valuable features on paid plans, and those are prohibitively expensive. And honestly, this is why I don't like any value prop related to cost. Like, I haven't liked it in any business I've been in. Like, it's so contextual, so situational. Because anybody who's familiar with Salesforce and has experienced the cost of the Salesforce ecosystem as a whole, when we see prohibitively expensive, we like lose our minds, right? Like, are you kidding? But now we see the context here. Also, the CRMs you mentioned are enterprise CRMs, while HubSpot is mostly active in the SMB segment 2 months ago. And just know, I think, like, we just take for granted either we don't need to care about this narrative, or we don't think it exists. But just know that this is the outcome of you not knowing what the platform can do. You are unintentionally, facilitating this narrative to continue when all you focus on and recommend to people is doing some emails, doing some automation, right? 2 months ago, because HubSpot has its limitations, at its heart, it's a marketing platform. I'll give them that. The DNA of the ecosystem is marketing, right? That's why this is a challenge. But to say it just bolted on a CRM functionality, get the hell out of here. Like, there's so many better examples of what bolt on looks like, right? Thankfully, to their credit, they did pretty well, but there's some stuff missing that I consider critical functionality and UI. So this is real. This is, like, again, 2 months ago. This is a real perception in the market. People aren't clear on what HubSpot can do, aren't clear on what they should and shouldn't be doing with it, how it can impact their business. And that's one of the reasons I started this series. It's one of the reasons, George and I are co-leading this new customer platform hug. We're going to start with the foundation. What is a customer platform? What makes the smart CRM smart? It's the difference between the CRM and hubs. And then the power of the connected ecosystem and how that impacts the community and the usage of HubSpot overall. And that's the ecosystem I'm talking about right now. The ecosystem is not aligned at all on HubSpot's value to the marketplace, on what it can be doing. And again, understandable, as they've moved quickly, right? But I think there's lots of people in the ecosystem, especially admins, that have a valid excuse, of being overwhelmed and not being able to keep up. Partners, no. Got to find a way to do better. The resources are here. Very simple resources. At the very least, like this one. And I'm not saying you need to know how it all works, or even, like trust that payment links are going to be great for every business. Just understand that it's here, right? And some of the hand waving that I've heard that is just dismissive of the ability to do stuff, right? Like, we don't need it to be a full-fledged e-commerce platform for it to be valuable to a shit ton of businesses out there. The ability for people to check out online in any way, pay online, would be a massive experiential improvement for so many businesses. And it's sitting, if they're already in HubSpot, it's sitting right there. And if you're a partner and you haven't told them that yet, you haven't explored that with them, you're not doing your job in making sure people are successful with their investment. So let's get to work, people. Check out these resources. I'll add the links in the comments. And find the opportunity, and let's grow. Have a great weekend, everybody.